Before I start this analysis, I'd like to warn everybody of something. We're about to put Dead Space 3 under some extreme scrutiny. Although what we have to say may be harsh, I did my best to provide ample examples to support our opinions. And I think we're actually very fair. But I realize that, this being YouTube, I'm probably going to upset some people with these videos. If you're going to get upset or offended by any of this, then please do us both a favor and just don't watch this analysis. It's very long anyway. If you do watch it and you do get upset, then I encourage you to first just calm down, relax. There's really no reason to be upset and pissed off by any of this stuff. And secondly, I encourage you to watch other Dead Space 3 reviews before commenting on this analysis. I think you'll find that in most cases we're not the only ones saying these things, which is very unfortunate because I do love Dead Space 1 and 2, and I had very high expectations for Dead Space 3. As always, I welcome comments, but I'm not going to argue with anybody. I really just have too many other things to do. If you disagree with what we say, then let's just leave it at that. Well, that wraps it up for my introduction, so enjoy the analysis. Alright guys, so we've just finished playing through Dead Space 3. We finished the entire campaign co-op on impossible difficulty from start to finish. And now since the game is still fresh in our minds, we're going to go through everything. We're going to first talk about all the bugs that we encountered in the game, and there were a lot of them. All of the design flaws that we thought were just not good.
There were a lot more of those.
Yeah, there's a huge list of all the things that just could have been so much better but weren't. And then after that, we're going to talk about all the positive things that Dead Space 3 did very well. And then after that, we're just going to give the game a quick rating out of 10. So first, by the way, these things that we're talking about in these lists, they're ordered from least to most severe. So
or best. For the positives.
No, it's like, I ordered them in severity. So the first thing we talk about is the least severe thing within that list. The last thing we talk about is the most severe thing. So okay, let's talk about the bugs first of all. The first bug I have listed here is that I found one audio bug. I was able to trigger dialogue when nobody was actually there, and there was actually a spot that you could run past back and forth, and it would trigger this dialogue.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was able to do that.
I never got that, so I'm not sure what happened with you.
Yeah, once again, like that's a very, very minor bug, so that's why it's like the first on the list. After that, I have various graphical bugs. Like there were a couple times, there was one instance where actually some black object in the game was stretched out like super wide, and it was just going berserk. It was weird. Aside from that,
I haven't seen that many.
Yeah, there weren't that many graphical bugs, and besides that, like it's just a graphical bug. Like it doesn't really like hinder gameplay like really bad. Yeah, it's a cosmetic thing, so that's why it's the second on the list. The third thing on the list is that there was one part in the game where Sergio was on the elevator, and I was like half on and half off the elevator.
Like he was just like walking on it.
Yeah,
like
I was walking on it, and then I for whatever reason I decided to walk backwards, and then so I guess the game couldn't decide whether or not to place me on the elevator or on the floor underneath the elevator. So I was just kind of like clipping through the elevator, and it was like it was just really weird. I was just like,
it was nonsense.
It looked like it looked like I was having a seizure in midair, and then I just died. The game just killed me. Which I get that, like, you know, when you go out of bounds in a video game, the typical way to handle that is to kill the player. That's not really like a big deal, but like I don't know. It was a bug, and it was in the game. It only happened once, so.
This is compounded by one of the design flaws, which is the terrible saving.
Yeah. We'll talk about all those later, but yeah, the third thing on my list of bugs is death by elevator. The fourth thing I have written down is the co-op button press segments are very badly synced, And that
Yeah,
was
I
a thing.
don't.
That was a thing that kept on. That was a reoccurring thing throughout the game. Like, um, it was weird. It was very inconsistent. Like
Yeah.
the first time we tried to do it, I think we just tried to like hold down the button, but that didn't work. That wasn't triggering for whatever reason. And then we like both mashed the button, and then that worked. But then there were a
And
couple other.
then, yeah, there were times when mashing buttons didn't work. Me holding down the button and Randy mashing was this one that seemed to work the most, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was just a weird thing happening between my computer and his computer. I don't know. That seems like a programming error thing. I
But
don't
even
know.
then, me holding down the button and Randy mashing it did not work all the time.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
It was just it was too inconsistent for there to have been like one way to go about, making this work.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty big bug, but not really major. The
It was annoying more than anything.
Yeah, it was annoying. It actually got us killed once, but not a huge
Yeah.
issue really. One other big thing, I consider this a major bug, is that there was one cutscene in the game that just refused to play like the dialogue track, and I guess the dialogue track playing also triggers the subtitles, is how it seems, because I didn't see any subtitles either. I forget what video it was, but I
It
actually
was towards the middle.
yeah, like I had to, like we tried to get it to play correctly, like
We've tried
10
about like
times.
10 times. Yeah, about 10
and
times.
we actually like quit the game and restarted it. We actually reloaded from a checkpoint. We tried like everything. It just didn't want to work. I didn't like install any mods on the game or anything. I just downloaded the game from Origin and I ran it just as it is.
Yeah, for me, it was working fine, though. After the first time where we ran out,
Yeah.
and then everyone started shooting and stuff for no freaking reason,
Yeah.
that was the only time it didn't work for me. But every time after that where we stayed in the elevator, it just worked fine for me. I'm not sure what's going on with your game.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would consider that to be a pretty major bug.
Yeah,
Just because
that was a very that was a plot twist almost.
Yeah, that was a
Oh no,
that
it
was,
was.
that was
It
a major pivotal point in the plot. That they overlooked that. It's kind of hard for me to like make a call on that because I don't know what caused the bug. I assume it wasn't anything on my system. I
Yeah,
assume it was something in
I'm
the
pretty
game.
sure we restarted our computers too. I think
No,
we did.
no, I don't think we restarted the computers. I don't think.
Hmm.
But I mean, even that, like, that shouldn't have really affected something in the game. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's true.
if anything, just restarting the game should have fixed it. But yeah, like
Yeah, that's true. And neither I don't have mods either, so
yeah, we're just running the game like the way it's meant to be run. So yeah, because that was such an important cutscene, I have that pretty high on my list. The biggest bug that we have encountered, though, that I can think of, is fucking that one part where we were climbing up the ice wall.
the ice wall.
That was part 29, and we died 15 times, and it took us 16 minutes to climb up that segment, that just one little part. And really the only reason why it was so difficult was because it seemed like the game just couldn't decide if we were actually making like contact with the other side of the wall that we were trying to jump sideways onto.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there was like a specific exact spot we had to be in, like a specific exact vertical position that we had to be in before we made the jump or what, but like so often we just slipped off the thing and then we wound up getting pushed back onto the wall that we were jumping from, and a lot of times that resulted in us getting killed. And of course, you know, if one person dies in this game, you guys both lose and you have to reload the thing. So it was just it was ridiculous. It was
Yeah, I don't think there was a specific point where that was like this spot works 100% of the time, because we did that
Yeah.
spot 15 times.
like yeah,
So
like I
don't
tried
know.
I tried going up as high as I could and then jumping to the side. That didn't work. And then I tried going down a little bit, and it seemed that worked a little bit more often, but it was still inconsistent. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
what the game wants me to do. Like,
It definitely seemed like Randy was having more problems with that. I had problems, but it didn't happen as often as Randy's.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's
But you know,
going on there.
I watched somebody else play that part solo, and he was also having problems with it.
Hmm.
Not nearly as much as we did. But yeah, I'm guessing maybe it was more problematic for me because you were the host and maybe I was the
Man, I don't know. But
I
even
don't know.
then, that should not be an issue.
Yeah, like that is a huge glaring issue. Like I'm assuming that Visceral Games did a lot of well, I should say they should have done a lot of testing. I don't really want to say that they did or they didn't, but I don't know how you overlook something like that. That's a big deal.
And that's something that everyone has to go through.
Yeah, that wasn't in a freaking side mission or a co-op mission. That was something that you have to go through if you're playing co-op.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest bug that we've encountered. Okay,
Yeesh.
so that pretty much. Yeah, were there any other bugs that you
I
thought of?
I can't think of anything else.
I think that pretty much encompasses everything that we've seen. So the game, it was pretty buggy. I mean, we got through
Yeah.
it. We got through it, but I mean, there weren't bugs that like really. I guess I should say there weren't any bugs in the game that like were consistent throughout the game. Like it was pretty much just certain segments of the game
Yeah,
that
that's
were just
true.
very buggy.
It's it seems like Visceral just has like most developers out there the whole mentality. Ah, let's just put out the game. We'll patch it later.
Yeah,
Which
I
is-
read something about that.
Ugh.
Like, apparently it's getting a lot more expensive to make AAA games, and you know, because of that, you know, developers are kind of
Mhm.
more rushed to release games earlier, and so I guess they're relying a little bit too much on you know, being able to patch
Patches.
the game later.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, I can't really speak for Visceral Games. I don't really know what their mindset was on that, but that's one thing I've read,
Yeah, that's true.
and I've read that Steam is taking over the world.
Steam is good though. Unless they
Steam
go
is
like
awesome.
horribly evil at some point, Steam is probably one of the best distributors and publishers
Steam-
and developers
I
out
heart
there.
Steam.
Yes,
Okay.
Steam
So
and well, not so much Blizzard. They used to. Anyways,
Yeah.
off topic.
anyway, okay, so that wraps it up for all the bugs that we've encountered